everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here. Alex, thank you very much for the introduction. Just to give you an idea about what we are doing right now in the Neuroscience Interest Group, ISAM Neuroscience Interest Group. And we haven't started the discussion to have a specific Neuroscience Interest Group, discussions about that in Tokyo in 2014, and then Dundee. And the first symposium that we had was in Abu Dhabi. So we started with one symposium in Abu Dhabi, discussing about we need to have an ISAM Neuroscience Interest Group. And then we received a kind of a note from others. What is the contribution of international kind of scene or other countries to the addiction neuroscience? And they were feeling that most of the things that we already have for addiction neuroscience is just from US, so we do not have that much contribution to the field of neuroscience from other countries. And we have been discussing about that. I'm just going to give you an idea about what is happening in the international scene about neuroscience for addiction medicine. For example, in the field of brain stimulation, non-invasive brain stimulation, as you know that there are many studies right now in the field of addiction medicine that there are hopes for different technologies for transcranial magnetic and transcranial electrical stimulation. Do you have any idea about how many published randomized clinical trials we have with the kind of brain stimulation? Non-invasive brain stimulation for addiction medicine? Any? That's yeah, no, not that, but 1,000. We have 84 published randomized clinical trials with brain stimulation. And what is the role of US right now? How many % of the trials are published from US? Any guess? 50% from US. Around 20% from US. So you can see something like 80% of the trials in the field of brain stimulation for addiction medicine is published in countries across the world, from Germany, China, Brazil, Italy, Israel, Iran, France. So you can see that people across the world are contributing to the field. So the idea of, okay, how we can bring these people together under the umbrella of ISAM and put them together in the ISAM Neuroscience Interest Group, and how we might be able to bring them together and make collaboration. For being able to do this, we realized that we need to kind of contact people to see if they are interested to have a collaboration together and make a sort of organization under the umbrella of ISAM. And we started the discussion, we sent email to people, and people were positive, really positive in different countries. So we made an international network of TSTMS trials for addiction medicine with something like 50 lab members across the world, and we published a consensus paper just kind of few, now I can say 2-3 months ago, with kind of one of Kathleen's colleagues, Colin Hanlon from MUSC, and 76 authors from 17 different countries, and we developed a consensus roadmap paper, and we are right now moving forward from that direction. So we realized that is doable. It seems that people are interested to collaborate, there are great potentials to help, and we can do really interesting things in the field. So we have started from this point, and now we realize that there are many other things that we can do together. So I'm just going to give you a really brief, rapid overview about potential things that we might be able to do together within the ISAM Neuroscience Interest Group, with the hope that we might be able to have this model for other ISAM Neuroscience Interest Group and kind of encourage others to do this. That is the idea that we have in the kind of in the presentation. So we have started to have a specific webinars, and we realize that webinars are really helpful to exchange ideas, exchange expertise in the field, and if we started to put them on YouTube. So even the talk that I'm kind of presenting, we are recording that. Every talk that we had in this kind of meeting, we had 4 symposiums, and we recorded all the talks, and we are going to put them all in the ISAM Neuroscience Interest Group YouTube channel. So we are trying to encourage others to join, because that is a basic resource that everybody, people would be interested to have. So that is the idea. And then moving forward from that, if we want to kind of approach addiction as a brain disease, we need to think about how we might be able to do assessments and interventions based on the neuroscience finding that we have. And we need to think about what are the resources that we might be able to share in this platform. Just to give you a really rapid overview, for example, what are the functions that we might be able to measure? You know that fMRI right now is considered one of the probably good outcome measures in the field. And if you want to kind of see how many fMRI studies right now how many randomized clinical trials we have with fMRI as one of its outcome measures in clinicaltrial.gov, which is basically the most important registry across the world. Do you have any estimate about the number of randomized clinical trials that we have with fMRI as one of their primary or secondary outcome measures? Mark, do you have any kind of guess about the number of?
I'm hearing 1900 as a...
Somebody is helping you. So we have 1,348 randomized clinical trials with fMRI as an outcome measure. So it seems that people are investing on fMRI. And we realize that there are potentials for kind of basically exchanging ideas on that. So and specifically for a specific paradigm, for example, for fMRI drug Q reactivity, we have 42 clinical trials, and 80% of them have fMRI as one of their primary outcome measures. The only primary outcome measure or one of the primary outcome measures. So you can imagine that the field is moving forward. So just kind of rapidly moving forward for that. So we develop another kind of international collaborative initiative with Leadership Corps, and we developed a checklist of the items that should be reported in any fMRI drug reactivity study. We develop an intensive checklist. I'll just give you an overview about a checklist. And right now we are extending, we are sending the checklist to others to see how they might be able to help. So we realize that people across the world are interested to kind of contribute to these methodological checklists and make a sort of harmony in the field. So we realize that is probably one of the good things that we can do with ISAM Neuroscience Interest Group, and people are interested to collaborate. And then we had a large database of drug Qs that we did the validation for this database, and we realized that we can share what we already have within the ISAM Neuroscience Interest Group as a database and resource for other labs that are interested to have this material. And I should say that we contacted Kathleen for the kind of previous work, and she introduced Jane Joseph, and Jane Joseph is right now working with us with the specific program. So we realized that we can share the ISAM Neuroscience, within the ISAM Neuroscience Interest Group framework, share these databases. And now we are encouraging other labs to share their own databases within this framework. So if we want to make that happen, to encourage others to join us, we need to provide them with resources. So if we are just saying that, okay, join us without providing something for them, that is not going to happen. So we realized that we can share this, and we did the fMRI task. We also developed a comprehensive fMRI task. The fMRI task is also available online right now. So we are sharing the fMRI database as well. We are sharing the data as well. That's another aspect. We are sharing another kind of setting that we have developed on neuroscience-informed psychoeducation. And we shared that in ISAM Abu Dhabi 2 years ago. And now after 2 years, we have the package in 12 different languages. So now I realize that how ISAM could be a powerful tool to disseminate what we already have. And 6 other languages are coming. So right now we have this package in Arabic, in Persian, in Hebrew. I mean, people across the world. And now we have them in Hindi, and also a Kannada language, which is one of the kind of South Indian language. So it seems that people are interested to collaborate, and we see that that is something doable. And then we realize that we need to think about different faces, even how we can bring the different ethnicities to this picture, how we can bring gender, and we start to have new cartoons with different gender, let's say, ethnicities, different sorts of gender, kind of identities, and we move forward for that. So now we have the package for women with a face that is not white. So the previous package was basically a male, white person with blue eye, but this one is And the last kind of thing that we are doing, we are realizing that we can also share not only the educational stuff and assessment, we can also share advanced technologies with others across the world. So right now we are doing the high definition transcranial electrical alternating stimulation inside the scanner. So we do the stimulation inside the scanner. We started with watermelon stimulation inside the scanner, and now we can do basically we kind of do the watermelon stimulation, but then we kind of eat the watermelon at the end of the stimulation. They taste really good. And then we have right now the human model, brain stimulation inside the scanner, and the last slide. So we started to share that with others as well. So now we have the technology shared with others. So I think that's what we probably can do, and we have some textbook that we have started to share with others, the cognition addiction with Antonio's book, the special issue for brain and cognition for addiction medicine, the roadmap that we have recently, just a few weeks ago, published with people in neuroscience interest group about how we are going to have ISAM neuroscience interest group to pave the road for bringing neuroscience to addiction medicine, and that's it. So we hope that that would be something that we probably can do for the next couple of years and bringing people together. Thank you very much for your attention. I tried to make it really compressed and kind of be concise. Thank you very much.